All right, we're live here in the Tilo production studio right here in Melville, New York. So I've got a few minutes here. Figured might as well just get a couple things in today. Follow the winners, right? That's what it's all about. Um, yeah, I'd like to talk about a concept that I've been working on myself. I'm reading a book. I suggest everybody reads it. I can pull it up on my phone right now. It is called 10x is Easier Than 2x. The book is written by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. There's no way you guys can see my phone, but I'm just going to say that it's right there. It's a really good book. It's kind of been like changing my whole perspective on life right now. So I'd like to talk about Follow the Winners a little bit in the sense that there's a lot of people out there that you can easily just grab stuff from. Books are obviously a really good example of that, where I love audiobooks. I can't physically sit and read a book because I probably have like ADHD or something and no one's ever told me, but I literally just my brain goes everywhere. But I'm great at listening. I can put headphones on and I can listen for hours realistically. And this book's amazing. It basically explains how you want to focus on the 20% of the things that you love the most in your life, and you'd like to get rid of the 80% of the things that you dislike, right? So focusing on that 20%, getting rid of the 80%. And it's an interesting, thought process and rule. But once you start digging into these things, like what are the 20% of things that I love to do and how can I get rid of the 80%? Like once you start asking those questions, it really starts opening up some bigger questions, right? Like, well, okay, then I would have to do this, and how would I do this, right? So, I mean, there's a few different things in itself to think about when you're going into this thought process, right? And it depends on where you are in your stage of life. Like, are you in a business stage where you want to delegate things to like other employees? Are you a mom or a dad and you're just like fed up with a lot of the regular day to day things that you're doing? Are you in college and maybe you're just really tired of a lot of the things that you're doing, or maybe you're just thinking about the future and you're just like, man, like in this time at this stage, I'd like to plan this, right? So you can do all of these things with this kind of 80-20 principle, and what they say is to basically reverse engineer your plan, right? And being brutally honest with that plan. If you want to be rich and you want to have a Lamborghini, then picture yourself there and then try and figure out how can you reverse engineer. The thing that I like the most about these like talks is that eh, I don't think I'm the only person that feels this way. Usually when I talk, I'm not the only person that feels this way. But there are scenarios where I've really, really wanted something, like really wanted something, and I figured out a way to get it. And in certain cases, they were things that costed money and money that I felt like I didn't really have, but then all of a sudden that money showed up. So I have a good story about when I lived in Buffalo. I lived in Buffalo, New York for about a year. And I went from making 21 or $20 an hour at a construction company to working for $14 an hour at a Firestone. And it was definitely a bit of a struggle because I was used to making all this money. And now I went from living at home to living on my own. So it was a lot of things to learn, I guess you could say. But when I got up there, my friend Pat from high school was living in Buffalo. And I haven't seen Pat in a few years. So I went over to Pat's house, and Pat had this awesome looking computer sitting on his desk. It had like a big glass screen on it with all these lights glowing at you. And then he turns the screen on, and man, the picture was just, I've never seen anything like it before. I was like, wow, this is awesome. I was so jealous. Like instantaneously, I was so jealous. So what did I do? Well, I'm making $14 an hour at a Firestone, and there's only so much overtime that they were willing to give me that, I really wasn't saving any money. And the money I was saving, which I did save money while working there, surprisingly enough, the money that I did save was really just put right into my savings account so I knew I could, move out of there eventually. And I did about a year later. I was able to save up about $5,000. But in between that, I knew I didn't want to touch my savings account. I wanted quick money. And how could I make some quick money? Well, I did know that I'm pretty good with my hands. I'm not the best. I'm not a carpenter by any means. I can paint and, I can do, oh, excuse me. little sneeze for you there. So again, I'm decent with my hands. I'm not anything crazy. If you would see some of the work, you'd probably want to hire somebody else in most cases. But people were happy with it. And I worked cheap. I was like, 20 bucks an hour or whatever it was, like super, super cheap. So I put an ad on Craigslist and this woman contacts me and I go over her house and I meet her and her daughter. And they're like, we're going to need a fence in the backyard because we have dogs and it can be super simple. It could be made out of like chicken wire. And I'm like, all right, I could probably do that. And she's like, and we have a couple rooms that need to be painted. And I think like a door needed to be fixed or something like that. It was all very simple stuff. And in order to buy a computer, I did the math. I found this guy online who was basically selling all the parts that I needed and showed me where to get them and so on. And it was about $1,000. And I was like, shit, like, all right, $1,000. I was able to make $1,000 in 2 weekends, Saturday and Sunday. So 4 days, I made $1,000 by putting an ad on Craigslist. Handyman services. It cost me $5 to put the ad on Craigslist. And I made $1,000 within 2 weeks. I painted a couple rooms in the house for them. I put up a fence, which who knows if that thing's even standing today, but not my problem. And I was able to, help them out with any other things that they had there. And within literally 2 weeks, I had enough money. I started buying all the parts that I needed. And I had a computer. I ended up building the computer, actually, because it was very interesting to me in order to kind of learn about it and almost prove some people wrong. Like, I could build a computer. It can't be that hard. So a lot of really great things involved in that. But my point is that, getting out there and doing something, achieving a goal that you really want is not always as hard as we plan it out to be or sometimes think it is, right? So if we look at the goal and we try and reverse engineer that goal, like, okay, this is the goal here. I want a Lamborghini. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't actually want a Lamborghini. I'd rather a Porsche, to be honest. But I want a Lamborghini. Okay, how do I get to the Lamborghini? It's like, okay, well, a Lamborghini's X amount of dollars. Do I want a house before a Lamborghini? No, I want the Lamborghini first. All right, fine. You're going to get your Lamborghini. How do you get there? Do I have to save up a certain amount of money? Is there another source of revenue that I could be tapping into right now? Is there another service that's maybe similar to what I'm doing at the moment? Or is there something that you're doing right now that you don't need to be doing, that you're wasting time doing, which is not allowing you to progress to that next level? And in a lot of cases, a lot of people are doing those things, right? And if you're not a business owner, it could literally be watching Netflix from 7 o'clock till 10 o'clock every night. And you're like, you know what? If I took the 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock and I decided to sit on Etsy and make, designs to sell on different prints or t-shirts or hats or whatever, like, you'd probably see some results after some time. And again, there's a lot that goes into this. I'm not trying to make this sound easy whatsoever. There's so many different ways to make money. Just start talking to people out there in the world and you'll be blown away by how some of these people make money. And if you go back to one of the old videos I did of just myself, I talk about door hinges and how you could literally just make a door hinge company and make probably a lot of money just making the best damn door hinges. So again, we have so many options. There's so much opportunity out there. And what I recommend for you is to start following those winners. Try and find them out. It's been a huge eye-opener for me to just be able to get out into different communities, business communities, local communities like the Chamber of Commerce or different networking groups, or just seeing that there's like a nonprofit that has an event going on and you're like, you know what, I could totally afford to go, give them a couple $100 and see what's going on, or maybe even buy some raffle tickets and try and win something. Like, there's so many different ways to get out into the world and meet people other than social media. And this is coming from a marketing and guy who's on social media so much. There is a beautiful digital world out there, but there's an even more beautiful real world out there. So I definitely recommend following those people and try and find the winners. As you do find them, follow them, see what they're doing. Ask them if you could follow them on, social media. Ask for their email address. Ask them for a business card. Do what they're doing. I've met so many winners over the past couple of years, not even years, months at this point. Like, literally, it's been like a year, and I've met so many of these people. And now I can look at them and their businesses and take their strategies and make them my own and ask them for advice. They've gone through stuff that, none of us are special. I even started this off, like, everybody has a lot of similar things going on in their lives. So if you meet somebody who resonates with you, it can be extremely, extremely game changing. So this is just a quick little podcast, catch up here with the Follow the Winners podcast. I hope everybody is doing well out there. I pray for the world right now. It is a extremely scary place, especially as a young man in his 20s. I hope that everybody out there can just find some peace and quiet today to pray for some peace, you know. So that's what I'm pretty much just going to leave you all with. If I could ask you kindly to like this video and subscribe, potentially share it with friends or family. I'm really trying to grow. I'm sitting here actually filming content to be able to post on, my own social media, try and promote these types of things. I want to help as many people as I possibly can. And again, I don't necessarily know how to do it, but I see the vision and I'm trying to reverse engineer it to my best ability, and focus on the 80% that I don't want to do and really hone in on the 20% that I do want to do. So here we are. Follow the winners, everybody. Have a great day, and thank you so much.